My beloved child, listen closely and do not rush past this moment. I am speaking to you with tenderness, not with fear, not with pressure, but with a steady love that sees everything you cannot see yet. What feels like an ending to you right now is not punishment, not rejection, and certainly not abandonment. It is protection. I am protecting you by ending this first, immediately, before it could wound you deeper, before it could steal more of your peace, before it could quietly reshape you into someone I never designed you to be. You have been wondering why it had to happen this way, why there was no warning that made sense to your heart, why the door closed so suddenly. You replay conversations, moments, promises, and you ask yourself if you did something wrong, if you waited too long, if you loved too deeply, if you trusted too much. My child, hear me clearly now, your love was not a mistake. Your heart was not foolish. Your hope was not wrong. What I stopped was not your future, but a path that would have cost you far more than you realize. I saw what you could not see. I heard what was never said out loud. I knew where this was leading while you were still believing it would change. You were praying for clarity, for reassurance, for peace, and my answer was not more words, not more signs, but removal. Sometimes my loudest protection looks like sudden silence. Sometimes my mercy feels like loss before it feels like relief. You kept asking me to fix it, to heal it, to make it work. But there are moments when what you are asking me to fix is the very thing I am trying to save you from. I do not destroy what is meant for you. I remove what is quietly destroying you. And yes, I know it hurts. I know you would have preferred comfort over courage, familiarity over faith, something known over something uncertain. But I love you too much to let you stay where you would slowly forget who you are. This ending is not proof that you failed. It is proof that I intervened. I stepped in because you were carrying something that was never meant to be carried alone, and it was starting to bend your spirit. You were shrinking in places where you were created to expand. You were explaining your worth to people who were never prepared to honor it. You were waiting for consistency where confusion had already become a pattern. And still, you stayed, because your heart is loyal, because you believe in seeing the good, because you hoped love would be enough. But love without peace is not the future I have planned for you. Connection without clarity is not the covenant I promised. I am not removing this to punish you, I am removing it to preserve you. What I am ending now would have demanded more and more from you while giving less and less in return. It would have taught you to settle, to silence your intuition, to normalize anxiety, to call survival love. That is not my will for your life. I know you are tempted to look back, to romanticize what was, to remember only the warmth and forget the warning signs. But I remember everything. I remember the nights you cried quietly so no one would ask questions. I remember the moments you felt unseen even while standing right next to them. I remember how your joy became conditional, how your peace depended on someone else's mood, availability, or choices. I saw how often you doubted yourself instead of doubting the situation. You asked me why it had to end now, why immediately. Because delay would have made the attachment deeper, the healing longer, the lesson harder. Immediate endings are sometimes acts of mercy. I stopped it before it could damage your trust in love, before it could harden your heart, before it could make you believe that longing and anxiety are the same as passion. I ended it before it could redefine your standards so low that you would forget you are my beloved. Do not confuse my protection with cruelty. Surgeons cut to heal. Gardeners prune to allow growth. I remove what cannot grow with you into the next season. You are stepping into a time where your discernment will be sharper, your boundaries stronger, your peace non-negotiable. But you could not fully enter that season while holding on to something that required you to abandon yourself. I know you are grieving not just what was, but what you thought it could become. You are mourning potential, imagined futures, conversations that never happened, apologies that never came, effort that was always promised later. Let yourself grieve. I am not asking you to pretend this did not matter. It mattered because you matter. But do not mistake grief for regret. You did not lose something meant for you. You were released from something that was slowly costing you. Right now, your mind wants answers, timelines, explanations that make the pain logical. But healing does not always come through understanding first. Sometimes peace comes before clarity. Trust me enough to rest without knowing everything yet. I am working in ways you cannot see. Aligning things you have not even imagined asking for. What feels empty will soon be filled with something truer, steadier, and safer. I am also protecting you from repeating an old cycle. This was not the first time you ignored your intuition in the name of love. This was not the first time you stayed longer than you should have, hoping effort would be reciprocated. This ending is a breaking point, a holy interruption. I am teaching you that love does not require you to beg, to chase, to prove, or to diminish yourself. The right connections will meet you with consistency, not confusion. They will feel calm, not chaotic. They will add to your life, not drain it. You may feel lonely in this moment. But loneliness is not the same as being alone. I am closer to you now than you realize. I am sitting with you in the quiet, in the questions, in the ache you don't know how to put into words. Let me be enough for you here. Let me restore the parts of you that were tired of hoping. Let me remind you of who you were before you started doubting your worth. Do not rush to replace what ended. Do not fill the space just to avoid the feeling. This space is sacred. This is where your healing deepens, where your self-respect strengthens, where your voice becomes clearer. I am rebuilding you, gently, patiently. What comes next will require a version of you that knows how to choose peace over potential and truth over attachment. One day, you will look back and thank me for ending this when I did. You will see how close you were to compromising your joy. You will recognize how much energy you were spending trying to keep something alive that was never growing. And when something healthier, more aligned, more secure enters your life, you will feel the difference immediately. There will be no guessing, no anxiety, no fear of loss. Just presence, effort, and peace. Until that day, trust me. Even when your heart aches, even when your thoughts wander, even when the silence feels heavy, I am not late. I am not careless. I am intentional. Every ending I allow serves a greater beginning. Every door I close protects you from a room that could not hold the person you are becoming. Rest now. Release what I have already removed. Stop reopening doors I have closed for your safety. What is meant for you will not require you to lose yourself to keep it. I am leading you somewhere better, even if right now all you can see is what is behind you. You are safe in my hands. You are loved beyond what you have known. And this ending, painful as it feels, is proof that I am still watching over you, still guiding you, still protecting you, especially when you cannot protect yourself. My child, stay with me a little longer here. Do not rush away from this stillness just because it feels unfamiliar. What you are experiencing right now is not emptiness, it is recalibration. When I remove something suddenly, it creates a quiet space that can feel unsettling, but that space is where I realign your heart with truth. I am gently loosening the grip of what once felt necessary so that you can breathe freely again. You may notice waves of emotion coming without warning. One moment you feel strong, convinced this ending was needed, and the next moment you feel fragile, missing what once brought comfort. This does not mean you are going backward. Healing is not a straight line. It moves like the tide, forward, then pulling back, then forward again, each motion reshaping the shore of your heart. Be patient with yourself. I am not disappointed in your tears. I collect them. They matter to me. I want you to understand something deeply. The pain you feel now is not because you lost love, it is because you loved sincerely. And sincerity is never something to regret. I am not asking you to harden your heart after this. I am asking you to protect it wisely. Softness with discernment is strength, not weakness. You do not need to become colder to be safer. You only need to become clearer. There were moments when your spirit felt uneasy, when something inside you whispered that this connection was costing you more than it was giving. You tried to quiet that voice. You told yourself to be patient, to be understanding, to wait a little longer. But that whisper was my guidance, not your fear. I speak softly, not to confuse you, but to invite you to trust me. This ending happened because you were struggling to let go of something your soul had already outgrown. I am restoring your sense of self right now. You may not feel it yet, but with every day that passes, the fog will lift a little more. You will begin to notice that your thoughts are calmer, your sleep deeper, your smile more genuine. You will stop checking your phone with anxiety. You will stop replaying conversations in your mind, wondering if you said the wrong thing. Peace will slowly return, and when it does, guard it. Peace is not boring. Peace is evidence of alignment. Do not let guilt convince you that walking away, or being released, means you did not care enough. Sometimes caring deeply is exactly why I must intervene. If I had allowed this to continue, you would have kept giving until you were empty, calling sacrifice love, calling confusion depth. I am teaching you that real love does not require self-abandonment. It does not keep you in constant uncertainty. It does not make you question your value. You are learning to trust me even when the outcome hurts. That trust is building something eternal within you. Faith is not proven when things go as planned. It is proven when you surrender what you do not understand. I know you wanted answers from them, closure that felt complete, words that validated your experience. But sometimes closure does not come from conversation, it comes from clarity. And clarity is exactly what I am giving you now, even if it arrives quietly. I am also healing patterns that began long before this situation. Patterns of overgiving. Patterns of hoping people will change if you love them enough. Patterns of ignoring red flags because your heart sees potential. I cherish your compassion, but I am teaching you boundaries so your compassion does not become a wound. You are allowed to choose relationships that feel mutual, safe, and consistent. Right now, I want you to resist the urge to go back mentally. Do not rewrite the story to make it softer than it was. Do not blame yourself for what you could not control. What ended did so because it could not walk with you into the life I am preparing. I am not delaying your blessing, I am refining your readiness for it. There will come a moment, quiet, ordinary, unexpected, when you realize you are no longer hurting the way you once were. You will laugh freely again. You will feel hope without fear attached to it. And in that moment, you will understand that this ending was not the loss you thought it was, but the release you needed, my precious child. As you continue forward, I want you to notice something gently unfolding within you. There is a strength returning that does not announce itself loudly. It shows up in small moments, in the way you pause before reacting, in the way you choose rest instead of rumination, in the way your heart no longer rushes to fix what is not yours to fix. This is not accidental. This is restoration. You are beginning to see that not every ending requires explanation to be valid. Some things end simply because they have served their purpose. This connection taught you how deeply you can love, how patient you can be, how much you are willing to give. But it also taught you where you must draw the line. Lessons do not stay forever, they prepare you for what comes next. I know there are times you still wonder, what if I had said something different? What if I had waited longer? What if I had tried one more time? Those questions are natural, but they are not invitations to return. They are echoes of a heart that cared. Let them pass without attaching meaning to them. The future I am leading you toward does not require you to relive the past to earn it. Into what is happening beneath the surface. I am teaching you how to be comfortable with stillness. While your mind is still catching up to the change, stillness is not stagnation. Your spirit already knows the truth. Stillness is where I whisper. It knows you are safer now. Where I realign your desires. It knows the heaviness has begun to lift. You have spent so much time emotionally reaching out. There is a quiet relief settling in that you may not fully acknowledge space yet because part of you is still loyal to now what I am calling you inward. But loyalty to the past should never cost you your future. Do not fear being alone. I am teaching you how to release without resentment. Solitude under my care is not isolation. You do not need to be angry to move on. It is preparation. You do not need to vilify your discernment to justify when the next connection arrives. Gratitude and goodbye can exist in the same breath, but by peace. Thank the experience for what it taught you. Anxiety or urgency. Then bless it as it will not require you to wonder where you stand. This frees your heart from carrying unnecessary weight. You will feel safe being yourself. You may notice that your prayers are changing. Without proving. You are no longer asking me to bring something back, not just in others. You are beginning to ask me to bring you peace. You doubted your intuition and alignment because you wanted the outcome to be different. This is growth. But your intuition was never wrong. When your prayers shift, it was just your life by hope. I want you to understand that this ending is also protecting the other with wisdom, even if they do not realize it. I am teaching you to listen to the quiet. Not every connection you is meant to continue. There is a version of you emerging would have created more hurt for closure from people. Love does not always mean staying. Comes from alignment with me. Sometimes not from someone else's release, so that healing can happen separately. There is no rush in becoming whole again. What you felt. Do not compare your healing timeline to anyone else's. I understood it. And I honored it by removing you from harm. Others need time and tenderness. You may notice that the attachment I am present in every stage. Not because you stop when caring, you feel strong, but because you rejoice with you. When you feel weak, I carry you. Love that is released into the stories you tell yourself in this season. It transforms. Do not let disappointment convince you that you are unlovable or compassion too much. And clarity rather than pain. You were not asking for too much. Measure your progress. You were asking how little you think about them. The love measure you desire it by how often you choose yourself. It is how reserved. Quickly you return to peace, and it will meet you when you are no longer willing to settle. I am proud of the way you are allowing this process to unfold without forcing what you once tolerated. Soon, you will feel excitement again, not the anxious excitement of uncertainty. You will now recognize as misalignment, something aligned. This is not bitterness. You will no longer fear endings the way you once did. You are learning to choose that I only remove what cannot stay. The memory of this ending will no longer sting. Remain gentle. It will simply exist as part of your story, not the center. What I am preparing for you will not require you to lose your voice to receive it. You will think of it without your chest tightening. And in that moment, you will know you are free. Trust the process. Trust my timing. Trust that I am always ahead of you, clearing the way, even when it feels like something precious has been taken. Nothing meant for you will ever require you to betray yourself, my child. Let me close this moment by wrapping you in assurance. What I ended was never meant to define you, and what I am beginning will never require you to beg for its place in your life. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not forgotten. You are right where I can reach you most clearly. From this day forward, walk without carrying the weight of what has already been released. Do not keep rehearsing the pain as proof that it mattered. It mattered because you mattered, but it does not get to follow you where I am leading you. I am restoring your laughter, your confidence, your sense of safety and love. I am teaching you that peace is not something you earn by enduring discomfort, it is something you are meant to live in. There will be moments ahead when you feel tempted to look back, especially when nostalgia disguises itself as longing. When that happens, remember why I stepped in. Remember how often you felt uncertain, how much you had to explain yourself, how rarely you felt fully chosen. I did not remove something good to punish you. I removed something almost right so you would not miss what is truly right. You are becoming someone who trusts themselves again. Someone who listens when their spirit grows uneasy. Someone who no longer confuses intensity with intimacy or attachment with destiny. This growth did not come easily, and I honor the courage it took for you to stay open even when it hurt. I want you to know this clearly: what is meant for you will arrive whole. It will not come with mixed signals or half-commitment. It will not ask you to compete, to wait in confusion, or to carry the relationship alone. It will feel steady, mutual, and safe. And when it comes, you will recognize it, not because it overwhelms you, but because it brings you peace. Until then, let me be your assurance. Let me fill the spaces that once felt empty. Let me remind you daily that you are deeply loved, intentionally chosen, and carefully protected. You do not need to fear endings anymore. Every ending I allow is aligned with a greater beginning. Rest now. Release fully. Walk forward without looking back. I am with you, guiding every step, guarding your heart, and leading you into a future where you will not have to lose yourself to be loved. You are safe. You are held. And the path ahead is brighter than anything you have left behind.